Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today, as usual, many things to say, many things to mention. The market is moving, and so we jump into it. And here we go, guys. Always movements, always news, always things happening. And I want to start with Arsenal because the Premier League champions are going to be busy in the next weeks of transfer window. It's been quiet during the World Cup for Arsenal. They tried some approaches for Bruno Guimaraes. They've been working on Morgan Rogers, but it's going to be busy and busy in the next weeks. Today we start talking about Arsenal, about the goalkeeper situation, because obviously David Raya is staying, and the future of Kepa, the backup goalkeeper, is not guaranteed yet. There is a possibility for him eventually to leave Arsenal in this summer transfer window. There is this chance. Depends on proposals. There were links with Inter, but completely wide of mark, never been a possibility. Inter already said no to Kepa around April when he was offered to Inter. There are some possibilities in Spain. Let's see if Kepa decides to go or to stay at Arsenal to compete as backup goalkeeper with David Raya. In any case, Arsenal have agreed a deal with Meslier, the goalkeeper from Leeds United, now available as a free agent. Agreement done between Meslier and Arsenal on contract terms, and so he's ready to go to Arsenal, eventually to be second or third goalkeeper. We will see that, depending on Kepa, but Meslier said yes to Arsenal. Don't forget about Arsenal, about the winger, because Arsenal will sign an important winger in the summer transfer window. That's for sure. I told you several times, it's not in doubt. And it's not based on who is going, who is staying. In any case, Arsenal will sign a top winger. Leandro Trossard could go to Besiktas. There is an agreement club to club, 18 million euros plus 2. But waiting on Leandro Trossard to decide, a delegation from Besiktas will travel to the US to have an initial conversation with Leandro Trossard to present the project. Then the player doesn't want to decide anything during the World Cup, but after the World Cup, Leandro Trossard will make a decision on Besiktas. But in any case, Arsenal want to sign a top winger. The name, the top priority they have in mind remains Morgan Rogers. Arsenal want to sign Morgan Rogers. The agreement with the player, from my understanding, is quite close. It's something that Arsenal see as close, not a problem, but Aston Villa start at 130 million pounds. This could be eventually negotiated, we will see, but Aston Villa start at 130 million pounds for Morgan Rogers. So very expensive. We have to see what's going to happen in the club-to-club conversations, but Arsenal are working on the Morgan Rogers deal as a top priority. Many questions today again on Barcola. Guys, on Barcola, I maintain my position. Now I see the name of Barcola linked so much to Arsenal and to other clubs. Till last week, he was untouchable. Now I see him linked to several clubs. The reality, guys, is that Barcola is not untouchable. Barcola has serious possibilities to leave Paris Saint-Germain in the summer transfer window. I maintain my information since April, and I stand by my information. I keep telling you, don't forget also Liverpool, because both Liverpool and Arsenal are calling for Barcola. Liverpool have the player on the very top of their shortlist since the summer transfer window 2025, and Liverpool remain interested in Barcola. So Barcola is 100% on the list of Liverpool. I maintain my information. Barcola is also appreciated by Arsenal, but is not position number one. Position number one is Morgan Rogers. Position number two is Barcola, and there are more options in terms of wingers. So that's the situation at Arsenal. Then, important to mention, for Paris Saint-Germain is not untouchable, because the new contract talks are completely on standby, stalling for a long time. So Barcola PSG, at the moment there is no agreement over new deal. And also, important to say, PSG would ask important money. So who's going to sign Barcola? It's not just about the interest, it's also about the package of money they're going to present to Paris Saint-Germain. So that's the situation. Don't forget also that PSG are selling Kang-in to Atletico Madrid, and that Paris Saint-Germain are going to attack again for Maghnes Akliouche, without forgetting also the situation of young Diomande. So that's the story around some of these wingers. Then, talking about wingers, guys, I wanted to touch on two more cases. The first one, Savinho. Tottenham remain very interested in Savinho. It's a name I told you long time ago, months ago, and Tottenham keep working on the Savinho deal. Then, waiting for Manchester City to take a decision on the Savinho story, whether they want to let him go or not, which conditions, but the conversations have started. The conversation is ongoing, and we have to wait and see the timing. But Savinho is the next big name on Tottenham list, and I would include also Cody Gakpo, among the players they like at winger's position after reshaping the midfield with Sandro Tonali and Mateusz Fernandes. So keep an eye on Savinho. Then, talking about wingers, guys, we have to take a minute to talk about Alejandro Garnacho, because there is a possibility for Alejandro Garnacho to be on the move in the summer transfer window. It's not something 100% guaranteed yet, also because the preseason is about to start. Garnacho is not at the World Cup, so he will have the possibility to work under Xabi Alonso, and let's see what happens there. But in case of permanent deal proposal on the table, Chelsea could open doors to the exit of Alejandro Garnacho. Just 1 year after his arrival from Manchester United, Chelsea could be open to making a switch and letting Alejandro Garnacho go in the summer transfer window. So I would keep the doors open for the future of Garnacho, for sure. Then, for who is asking me, can he go on loan? It's true about Italian clubs and all this sort of stuff. Chelsea today, July, are not accepting a loan deal for Garnacho. Permanent or nothing. Then, at the end of the window, we never know what happens, because sometimes, I always say in the market, it's not for Chelsea, it's not for Garnacho, it's in general. What's a permanent transfer today could become a loan with obligation to buy in August, and can become a loan with option to buy and salary covered in the final days of August. It's typical in the market. But in this case, today, to tell you what's going on today, Chelsea are communicating that Alejandro Garnacho is not available on loan. That's Chelsea's position. So, let's wait what's going to happen with the Argentinian winger. And then, guys, let me mention also today something about Real Madrid and Italian football. Because AC Milan closed one more signing after the record club deal for Gonzalo Ramos, 74 million euros plus add-ons to Paris Saint-Germain for the Portuguese striker. AC Milan invested 30 million euros package, add-ons included, for Mario Gila, the Spanish defender from Lazio, one of the best centre-backs in Serie A over the recent seasons. But this is also a news for Real Madrid, because imagine Real Madrid generated more than 100 million euros by selling players that are no longer owned by Real Madrid, all with sell-on clauses, with Nico Paz, who's been recalled and sold again to Como, with Victor Munoz, the exclusive news out of nowhere to Liverpool from Osasuna. That deal included a 50% sell-on clause, and so Victor Munoz deal also generating money for Real Madrid. Mario Gila, 30 million euros to Milan. Real Madrid received 50% of the deal, 15 million euros. Then Álvaro Rodriguez to Bournemouth from Elche, extra money for Real Madrid. And then Alex Jimenez also to Bournemouth. So Real Madrid generated over 100 million euros by selling players who are no longer part of the club. Incredible job, and the system of Real Madrid of selling players with buyback and sell-on clause is absolutely working. And so, guys, let me hear your thoughts on all these stories, movements on the market. More is gonna come, and so remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon here, as always. Ciao.